Thanks for coming, all of our prospective students. I'm very happy to take up this probably half an hour time to give you an introduction about our ARS research programs and study programs. So I myself is Associate Dean for Academy of Interdisciplinary Studies. My name is Zinin. I'm also professor here in one of the divisions here, MPhil. So first, I want to take about 10 minutes time to give a very brief introduction about ARS itself and some of the research programs you might be interested. So you have a better understanding of our entire ARS, our school. Now a little bit of background about why in the UST we set up this very important and also very interdisciplinary program. If you look at the slides here, and if you look around the world, many of the very important ongoing things, like COVID-19, we just came through this difficult 3 or even 4 years time, and a lot of health and well-being, like in the society, pollution emissions with different air quality problems, and also in Hong Kong especially, and I mean many of the countries, the aging population has been a great concern for our society. So when we look at this, all these different kinds of problems, one single solution is always not enough. We have to look at a way that we can solve the problems in a more interdisciplinary, crossing different areas, different expertise. So that's why we set up this ARS. Now, ARS, we have different approaches in dealing with all of these challenges when we deal with these multifaceted issues. And oftentimes we talk about cross different areas. And we also have very interesting and also very important impact stories. A few highlights, as you can see here, even during the COVID time, our professors in ARS, they crossing different biomedical, biology, and also the environmental disciplines. We have created this very important smart antimicrobial coating, and it's been used in Hong Kong a lot to help combat these COVID problems. We also see when we look at the Greater Bay Area, which is a very, very important strategic initiatives in this area, the public policy becomes so important. In a way, the research about the public policy can give us much clear direction, much more effective for the future developments of the area. It's not only about technology itself. The public policy sometimes can play a very important role. Some of even my own research, I do a lot of about air pollution sensing and measurements. We have this important collaboration with the government to help them do the law enforcement and the compact on ship emissions. We have the drones flying around in the Hong Kong, in different Hong Kong waters. As I mentioned earlier, the population aging is a quite big issue. So some of our technologies from the faculty, they are helping elderlies in Hong Kong how to deal with these issues independently and also more efficiently. So those are all the things you can see, the problems that's been solved in the AS, they are very multidisciplinary. In the same time, when we look at our relation with between teaching and learning, we have a very important missions, especially for you as a prospective students. We strongly encourage innovative teaching and learning experiences among our students and teachers. It's also important if when you do the study, and especially the research studies, we try and we hope to engage and bring two or more different fields of the supervisors to help you develop your own research story. We also want to foster the interdisciplinary research with many of the world-class faculty members and also develop the more original approach in dealing with the problems. So these are very important mission when we engage with our research students. If we look at our overall program overview, and you can also see the same thing in our website, a very brief introduction is we have currently 5 research programs. They are MPhil PhD in AES, MPhil and PhD in ESPM, and also public policy has an MPhil and PhD degree. We have also the MPhil and PhD in RIP, which is an individualized interdisciplinary program. We also have IST, which is an integrative systems and design in our new division, IST. So these are the 5 research programs we currently have. To run these programs, as you can see, we have quite a rich profile of our faculty members. Currently, total with 73, and almost 50 of them are substantiation track with a 13 teaching track and a research track. So this is a pool of the faculty under AIS. Now, at the same time, we also have joint appointments, which means there might be a certain percentage under AIS, but they are home-based in other departments. So they bring different areas expertise into AIS for our students when we engage with the teacher. We also have a lot of current pool of quite a big pool of the current postgraduate students, almost 760 total number of the RPG students. 400 of them with the research postgraduates, and they come from more than 20 different nations. So this is a current profile of our students. If you come here in the study in the AIS, I understand, especially for students with experimental oriented, it's quite important that we provide the world-class research facility for you. Currently, we have 4 central-based, also the school-based research facility. One is a super site. Hong Kong is actually located in a very peculiar location. It's almost the south corner of the entire South China. And this is a kind of a strategic location. So we have this super site. As we can see from the name, it is a super because it's very highly advanced instruments inside, looking at the molecular level of the air pollution in and out to between the land and the sea. We also have a high world-class VOC laboratory that can handle the climate change pollutants, health-relevant pollutants, in a very low detection limit, so we can study in much more details. So environmental central facility is, I'm also the director for the central facility. It's very popular instrument collection for environmental analysis. So this is almost all of our experimental students will use the facility. We also have this IST maker place that can get your hands-on work, no matter it's mechanic work or like a 3D printers. So once you have some research ideas, you need some prototypes. So we have this maker's place for you to go from ideas to prototypes so you can conduct your experiments. So these are the very important foundation in terms of the research support for our study programs. Little bit more detailed, but also quickly go through. So in here we have you can see the different areas from the coastal, from the coastal marine laboratory, our sister laboratory, environmental monitoring facility, satellite receiving system, etc. So details you can come to our website. This is one of the super sites, and the VOC lab, as I mentioned, we do important functions for both sampling and analysis, and also QA/QC. This is also aiming to be the golden laboratory for the entire GBA area. So it's a world-class facility in there. Talking about the environmental central facility, we cover the areas of the study for, if you work in some of the areas under here, there is a high chance you will be using the facility in it. As I mentioned, for the IST maker's place, we have a very large area in the division. So you can see we can do advanced 3D printing, laser cutting, CNC, solid simulation, even robotic arms. So if you have some ideas to put the research study into prototype before you really do the experiments, this is a perfect place for you. Now, talking about the research, the infrastructure, not only about the facility that you see, the physically you can see as equipment or analyzers, we also have 2 important structure for research institutes under AIS. One is the Institute for the Environment. The other one is Institute for Public Policy. Both of them are under our 2 divisions in AIS. So for the Institute of the Environment, we do a very important engagement for the public policy interfacing. We do research and also we educate a lot of not only the students in the university, but also engage with the community to educate the public about the environment concepts, etc. And for the Institute of Public Policy, we have 4 important research clusters. As you can see, there are green finance, climate risks, regional innovation system, big data, and public policy. So if you work under this area, so these 4 things will be might be very interesting for you. Talking about the you have the research facility, you have the research institutes and different faculty profiles. And it's also important to organize all of these different resources to provide a good learning experience. So when you come to UST, we have overseas research attachments as a regular process. It covers quite a big percentage of our research students. We also have an industry, government, business connections. So no matter it's the research programs or projects, or even some of the courses design, we engage very closely with these different sectors by inviting the speakers coming here to campus, or we attach some projects to these different disciplines. Interdisciplinary research is also important, as I mentioned earlier. So it's quite important to have for us to engage multiple discipline supervisors for the research. And last one is about the professional development. So the students can have an early exposure to the future career ladders. So these are all about the enriched program. The curriculum design for our students, you can see there is 4 important elements. We have a graduate teaching and assistant training. Each one of our research students will be the TA for at least a few semesters. And then once you join the PhD program, you have to go through PhD qualifying exams and the thesis and the soft skills, training and learning, how to do the presentation and research writing. Now, overall, all of the things here, no matter the resources or in the structure of the study program, the aim to let you, our students in the future, to become more prepared, no matter which area you will be in the future, by research, by industry, by government, by business. So these are all the things we hope you can be equipped during the AIS time. Last one is also very important. We provide quite a reach of scholarship for our RPG students. You can see you can apply for PGS. It's almost 100% coverage for our MPhil and PhD students. And we also, in the beginning of the application, you can choose to apply for PhD fellowship. Now, this is one of the very prestigious the Hong Kong government scholarship covering different disciplines. We also have the Redbird PhD Award program. So when you join the UST, and every year, actually, this Redbird Award is open to our incoming and existing students both. We also have this Asian Future Leader Scholarship for students from overseas. So you can join this one for the scholarship support for your study. Okay, so this is basically all of the things we want to cover. I want to leave the page here just for a few moments. So you can quickly scan it. You can also see we have different websites to introduce the more details about our programs. We also would like you to follow our Facebook, our Instagram, LinkedIn, and WeChat. So we have these public platforms to announce our news and highlights, stories of the students and the faculties. So that's all for my introduction, Yu.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Lin Chi. So right now, how about let's hear from the perspective of our current students and also recent graduates. So that so we have Alvin from the PPOL and also Garby from IIP, and Grab, our recent graduates of PPOL and he's now the research assistant professor of Division of Social Science, and also Leslie from ENVR, as well as I think did I miss? Oh, and also Sean from ISD. So that Professor Lin Chi, you can I think perhaps right now, how about we invite each student to starting with Alvin first, to self-introduce yourself, to talk about what you're interested in.
Good. Okay, so Yo-Yo, I just one quick thing for our students in the audience. Now this session, we very briefly give you some exposure to our student lives and their experience sharing. So as I usually just mentioned, we start from Alvin. from a PPOL. Would you please 2 or 3 minutes introduce yourself?
Sure, of course. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. So I am Alvin Lee. I am from the Division of Public Policy. I am a fourth-year PhD student here at the division. So I'm hoping to finish within this year. So I grew up in Hong Kong. I'm a local. I study university in the UK. I hold 2 master's degrees from the University of Cambridge at Judge Business School. And upon graduating from business school, I came back to Hong Kong and became a social entrepreneur, right? So I started several startups in the fields of charity fundraising, digital education, and also in environmental products. But I realized that, even though business can bring wonderful impact to the world, it's just not scaled, right? We have so many wicked problems around the world, like climate change and so forth, that needs to be solved on a different scale. And that's when I decided to change fields and pursue public policy to really understand how major decisions are made on a national and global scale. So following on from my work as an entrepreneur, I have an interest and passion in sustainable development and climate policy. So currently I am approaching the completion of my thesis research, which is on the investigation of the attitude behavior gap in reducing meat consumption. So essentially I'm taking a behavioral science approach to public policy, trying to figure out different innovative ways to introduce policies to major cities like Hong Kong to make us more sustainable. So that's a bit of an introduction about myself. Good to meet you all and happy to answer any questions moving forward.
Thank you, Evan. So next, Gabby, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, I'm Gabby from IIT program. And I was the MPhil student in UST before and then promoted to the PhD IIT program. And now I'm the year 3 student. And then I'm the local Hong Kong student. And my research is about the education and also with in the special education needs, and include the accessibility, data visualization, and also the implementation of AI technology in the education. And then I choose UST because they are very flexible for the interdisciplinary research. And then for my research, I'm not only collaborate with the supervisor in UST, but also other local institutes, and even have the connection with the university in Singapore and also Malaysia. So it is a good choice to study here.
All right, thank you. Next, how about Leslie?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Leslie. I'm a PhD student in Environmental Science Policy and Management. So I'm working under Professor King Lonyong. So in our group, we are actually the one who developed the smart antimicrobial coating for COVID control. So that's basically my research right now. I'm looking for the investigating how it affects viruses through bacteriophages. So in a true interdisciplinary fashion, I actually am from chemical engineering when I was in my undergrad. So I shifted to environmental science policy and management because it's something that I really want to pursue in the future, which is on environment and sustainability. So so far, my experience in AIS and especially in my department had been really fruitful. I've been involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, and the department and also AIS had been really supportive. So currently, I'm holding different roles such as a graduate teaching assistant coordinator, and I also joined a lot of competitions here in HKUST and also abroad, and AIS had been really helpful for me to be exposed to those opportunities.
Thank you. How about Sean?
Hey everyone, I'm Sean. I'm a second year MPhil student under the ISD division. So I graduated from UST as an undergrad, and I decided to pursue further studies in ISD because I'm really interested in product design and also how to use technology in a more holistic way. Rather than just trying to develop solutions for one-off problems, we're thinking of how can we incorporate holistic user design and marry that with engineering for our solution. So currently I'm working with Professor Tristan And we're working on using AR and XR, also machine learning, to develop a comprehensive solution for elderly and elder care for different scenarios. So one of the main projects that we're working on, and part of my thesis, is to detect dementia through speech. So we want to be able to automate the detection of dementia through spontaneous speech. So when elderly are talking, we want to be able to tell certain signs of dementia and be able to refer them to quick care, to their physicians and also their caregivers as well, so that we can better care for the elderly. And yeah, we want to use different methods to then help to improve their quality of life. And so that's part of what ISD is about, which is applying technology holistically and using different technologies to improve not just the experience, but also people's lives as well.
Thank you, Sean. Then we have Gleb. I guess you graduated already and you are working as IAP. So would you introduce yourself too?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Gleb. I graduated from a PhD in public policy at AIS this last summer, where my dissertation was comparatively looking at different policies and regulations around artificial intelligence, kind of comparing approaches chosen by different industries in different countries. Currently, I'm working as a research assistant professor at the Division of Social Science, also here at HKUST, and I am a part of the Center for Artificial Intelligence Research at UST as well, where we, as part of a multidisciplinary team, we're working on different issues related to AI from an engineering, policy, and philosophical perspectives. But essentially, my journey at UST was very interdisciplinary, and I think that's the biggest strength of AIS. And I'm happy that my PhD was done here, that I can continue with certain tropes of interdisciplinarity that I picked up here. And feel free to ask any questions if you have. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gleb. And also thanks for all the students introducing yourself. Now, this is a fireside chat. I guess I also want to take this opportunity individually. We can have some exchanges, so we let our future students know more about our AIS. Now, I want to start from with Alvin and Sean. Both of you have been in the UST for probably more than a year time. Would you please share with us your very typical study week of your student life when you pursue your studies in public policy and ISD here? Probably starting from Alvin.
Sure, no problem. So it's interesting you asked this question about typical week, because I don't think as a PhD student you do have a typical week. It really varies depending on the season, depending on how busy you are, how many research projects you might be embarking on. So I think much of it depends on the stage at which you are in your research. Normally, the first few years, 1 or 2 years, you're working mostly on finishing coursework, studying different fundamental, foundational courses, but also some of the electives that you might be interested in that are related to your research topic. So a bit of coursework, a bit of assignments, writing policy briefs, and so forth. At the same time, you're encouraged to start thinking about your, drafting your research proposal, doing some literature review and background search on your research topic. At the same time, you'll be working with your supervisor to do things like research grant proposals, or even embarking on some of the research projects that are ongoing with the department or with your supervisor, right? So you'll be drafting joint research papers together, working towards publication and so forth. After you've done some TA training, you would also be a teaching assistant for 1 course per semester. So this is great for you to kind of consolidate your learning, but also contribute to different courses and the delivery of the department. And just one last example of what a typical week might look like. For example, this Friday, the Division of Public Policy will have our brown bag session, where we bring a brown bag, which is our lunch, to a conference room together with our faculty, right? So this is a chance for the faculty and the students to get to know each other, to talk about common topics. And this session, we will be having early stage year 1s and 2s pitching their research area to faculty and later stage students to get some feedback about their research. So just to sum up, not really a typical week. It takes a lot of self-motivation and self-drive. But yeah, there's a lot you can do, a lot to explore. So it depends on your relationship with your supervisor as well.
Yes. Now, Alvin, you've had a good description about a possible student schedule in the different stages of study time. That's very typical for PhD. You have a longer span. Now, Sean, you are in the MPhil program at the moment, almost the second year. So would you also please share with us about your, again, I use the word typical study week. You represent a more hands-on type of the work. So can you give us some introduction?
Yeah, I agree with Alvin in that there's no such thing as a typical work week. There's different phases, I guess, different seasons of the, work cycles. I've been here for about a year and a bit more. So I joined last February as a MPhil student. So I've been here for just slightly more than a year. And there is not so much a fixed schedule as much as there is a research goal. So you could be working with your supervisor to define certain goals or objectives that you want to reach in terms of, for our project, my research is focused more on detecting dementia. So it's a big project in terms of having multiple pieces of how we want to structure a elder care experience. And mine is the more technical side, since I come from a more technical background. And that involves watching a lot of YouTube videos on machine learning. So if you like watching YouTube, I guess joining an MPhil program also is good, since you get to watch a lot of videos if that's your thing. So I come from a more hands-on background. So for my work, we do a lot more writing of code and whatnot. But at the same time, it's not all just doing your research with your professor or doing your project, but there is a lot of different experiences as well to be had. You could be working on your own projects if you are close to your supervisor, you may have the leeway to pursue certain, I guess, projects that are not exactly related to your research, but help to make you a better, I guess, academic in terms of what you want to do, right? Because there are things that you want to do that may not necessarily be aligned directly with the goals of your project, but at the same time, by learning these skills, you become more well-rounded. And I think that that's something that is very important, and that's something that is very good about studying in ISD, which is that you meet all sorts of different people, you meet all sorts of different people with different skill sets. So at ISD, it's a bit more special. You can think of it like a hybrid between engineering and design. There are a lot of engineering-minded people, but there are also a lot of design-minded people. And you learn how to complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. So for example, I worked as a TA as well. I use the word work loosely, but helping out as a TA in terms of a course where we have to design a course for students to do learn about microcontrollers, right? And it's obviously a bit more difficult for them to grasp if they're a design student, but we need to think from their perspective and from their structure of course. So there's TA duties, there's also I guess your own research duties, and also a bit of free time for you to pursue your own project as well. So I would say that it revolves around different cycles. There's a different balance for each cycle, and yeah, that's about the typical I guess work week, I guess.
All right, thank you, Sean and Alvin. Now my take from your sharing is the RPG student study is quite a self-motivated process. At the same time, I believe the stay hungry for opportunities to work as a team or leading a team. So these are the things very thankful for Alvin and Sean to share. Now I want to move the angle a little bit towards Ashley and Gleb. Now both of you are non-local students. And you have finished you finished the program, or you're about to finish the program successfully. So can you share with us how you initially settled of your life in Hong Kong as an international students? Anything in Hong Kong that makes you feel amazed you, or you feel quite interesting for you as an international students? How about us, Leslie, starting from you? Gleb?
Yeah, sorry.
You go. Oh, me first. Okay.
Yeah, Leslie
So
first is okay.
okay.
Thank you first.
Yeah, so my experience is quite different, will be different from you guys because I went here at the height of the pandemic. So I started my PhD in 2020. So at that time, it was really difficult to discover Hong Kong. But in terms of the community here in HKUST, I was able to settle well because HKUST, at least in my lab, it's very diverse, it's very international. So I was able to find my community here. And apart from that, there's also a strong Filipino community in Hong Kong. So settling in isn't really too much difficult for me. But apart from that, as the pandemic kind of subsided in the coming years, I found that Hong Kong was really the perfect place for me because I really like the dynamism and energy. So it feels like can't really find you can always find things to do here. So you can always hike, you can go to different restaurants, a lot like bars if that's your thing. So there are really a lot of things to do here. And it's also very international. So for the international students out there, I'm sure that wherever you will be in HKUST or outside Hong Kong, for sure you will find your community. And again, zooming in HKUST, there are just really a lot of opportunities to meet people. You can join organizations here. You can also join competitions. So there you will find your friends. So HKUST Hong Kong had been really perfect for me as an international Filipino student here.
Okay, that's a very strong endorsement. Thank you, Leslie. How about Gleb? How about you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, my story is quite similar to Leslie's, except I arrived 1 year before that, meaning that I've had one full semester of face-to-face teaching and taking classes in 2019, and then the pandemic started. So in the end, pretty much all of my PhD was when UST and pretty much the whole of Hong Kong was on online mode. But nevertheless, even in such the difficult time for the world, I still fell in love with Hong Kong, and I decided to stay in Hong Kong after I graduated, which I think is a big endorsement for the city. And one thing that I really value about Hong Kong, I think it's truly the place where East and West kind of meet each other, meaning that it is equally easy for a person from Europe or a person from Asia to feel at home in this city in comparison to many other places where the cultural differences would be much more pronounced. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest strengths of Hong Kong, that it's a very welcoming city for anyone with regards to where you're coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Gleb. I guess both Leslie and Gleb shared very first-hand experience about how international students have their lives settled in Hong Kong. I think the both are very successful. Now, Gabby, I want to move on to you. We know you have a social enterprise called the Gabby EDU, which is quite interesting and also innovation for the ASEAN support. Now, would you please also give us some experience sharing about the opportunities, all the supports that the UST and your division EMI have provided you to do such a quite exciting social enterprise?
Yes, sure. My startup is Gabby Education Limited. It is focused on the special learning disability and also some kind of accessibility. And then this startup is the spin-off from my research. And then firstly, in UST, we have an entrepreneur center, we so-called EC Center. And then they will provide us a lot of startup funding to build up a prototype. Once you have a very local, interesting idea, you can submit the application and then you can get some funding to have the MVP. And if the startups go more mature, they will also help us to connect to the local incubation program. It means that you will have more resources to build up your startup. And then we have different chances to visit the different company and also the incubation center in the Greater Bay Area and also foreign countries, so that we can understand more about the startup ecosystem in different areas. And also we can build up a network and have chances to collaborate with different stakeholders around the world. And they will also nominate us to join different competition and help us to build our branding. And turn to EMIA, they also offer me a lot of opportunities to promote my work, such as if you go to level 4, they have one LED wall outside the EMIA office. They will help the student to promote our achievement. And then when some guests or other stakeholders they pass through, we can also enhance the chances to connect with other stakeholders related to our business. And also EMIA promotes my project on their website, and then I can have chance to share the reputation of EMIA and also our university. When I present my startup and also my business, it is more convincing to the outsider.
All right. Thank you, Gabby. I guess all of our 5 students have shared their experience in different aspects, no matter it's how to settle down in Hong Kong as international students, or how to go through the student life week by week in UST, and also some interest in sharing from Gabby about how to engage with entrepreneurship as one of the career possibilities from UST students. Now, I want to open the floor for our incoming students. I see we have almost probably around 10, 20 students in the audience. Any questions for me or for the students? If you have any questions, either you can raise your hand or you can put your questions in the chat box. I see there are a few in there. Let me see. Okay, any students want to raise a hand? If no, I
think
okay.
there is some questions in the chat
Yes,
box.
I can see from the chat box. Let me quickly read out. Okay, some of the questions, even though from individuals, it may apply to many more. So one of the local applicant interested in the MPhil PPOI program, that's great. How quantitative one would need to be? I come from a economic background, but okay, I got the point. Now, the PPOI, for sure, the program itself is relevant to the public policy, but I know in some of the research projects, it's a data-driven. It's a data-driven, but some of the research projects are survey or questionnaire type of research methodology. Now, I don't think there is any fixed formula, say yes or no. It's all important about how you engage with your potential supervisor and design your research projects, formulate the research proposal. So I guess everything has a possibility. That's my answer to the first student. Now, the second question is about what is the best time to contact the supervisors? Is application open now? It's open now. It's open all year round. But there is a different deadlines for local international students. I would strongly encourage you to look at our website. Every scholarship has its own deadlines. For example, the Hong Kong PhD Fellowship, the cycle typically starts from August to November. And regular PGS will be a much longer cycle. It can end sometime into April and May. So this is depends on different scholarship, different research programs. Okay. Question number 3, what are the scope of research in the interdisciplinary area for someone coming from clinical psychology background? Oh, that's interesting background. MPhil will be more appropriate international students from India. Okay, I see the now I myself work on the environment and environmental health areas. Even though we don't do directly the clinical psychology, but I guess in some of our programs, like in especially the projects working on population aging, there might be some chances. So my general advice for this one is to look at our AIS website and identify the supervisor first. Identify the supervisor first who may have some common research interest with you, and initiate some conversation and see if you can design some research proposal together with a supervisor. So we don't recommend you to have a blind application and throw into the system. So that will have much less chance if you versus you engage with the supervisors early. Okay, so do we have any scholarship for undergraduate students? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I guess you that one later on we can give the students some more information.
Yeah, sure.
So
We can talk offline.
okay.
About it.
Yeah. And do we have experts or potential supervisor for local housing and elderly healthcare or aviation related policy? Okay. So I guess the question is about the research area. Okay, not about expert on local housing. Okay, now elderly healthcare, as one of our students shown from ISD, they mentioned actually some of the research projects indeed is about the elderly care, no matter it's a technology perspective or policy perspective. So that one is a very active area, especially in Hong Kong. So I see the name of the student is Jonathan. I think the strongly recommend you to go to our either ISD website or public policy website and look for these research programs relevant to your interest. So you will also put up a AIS website so you can easily get access to. Okay, we have another student from Zambia, Africa. Okay, welcome. So interested in the MPhil program. What scholarship are proper for me and are they available for? Yes, we have scholarships. They are available. This is March. I guess you can keep your eyes closely on the program deadlines. It's near the end of the cycle if you want to get admitted within 2024. Okay. So that's something some of the questions are very similar. So one general advice is engage with the potential supervisors early, identify the research areas and interests that potentially can form into a research proposal and observe the deadlines. Okay, so let me continue to read out. So students with international background with a bachelor degree and a master degree, English. If you have, if your degree, previous degrees are in English, you don't need to attend any English tests. All right. So question regarding the year 24-25, apply for PhD in public policy last year. Okay, with application deadline. Okay, so Olesia, now this results of the results of individual application is administered under individual divisions. If you already have a supervisor identified, I recommend you to email the supervisor, potential supervisor, and ask for the progress. If you haven't identified a supervisor, email the, I guess it's a PPOL, email the division secretary and see the progress. All right, so we have another quite a few questions relevant PPOL, Ariana. Okay, so last question I see in the chat box. If apply for Hong Kong PhD fellowship, when will the results? Okay, when will get the results? Now the results have different phases, either by pre-screening or by final results. It covers quite a long span of the time. Typically, we will receive our results in April to May for the final results. So if you have a specific, again, if you have a specific supervisor, in your application profile, ask the supervisor which stage you are in, so you know the results better or earlier. Okay. Okay, so I guess my answer is faster than the question. That's a good sign. Any more questions I want to leave for our potential students? All right, first call. We're gonna have 3 calls for the last question. I see there is a hand raised by Brongi, right? Did you put your question in the chat box already, or you still want to ask question?
I would want to ask a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Barungi Gerard from Uganda. I've been following and trying to reach out through, I desire to do a PhD in public policy. I tried to applying through a fellowship, but I think I was caught up by time. And I've tried to write to some of those supervisors that are on your website, but I've not received a feedback. How can I be helped?
Now, individual applications, the first stage, as I mentioned earlier about the tips, the first stage is always identify your potential supervisors. So that's the most important thing. UST, all of universities cannot admit students without a supervisor. So if you have identified supervisors, write emails for answer yes or no. Now also keep in mind, not every single supervisor has the projects to recruit students every year. It all depends on the individual, the faculty members' research progress and research proposals. So if you don't receive the answer, gently and politely remind him or her and see if any position for the new year about the student. If there's no reply, I guess that's sign of being maybe there's no position. So I encourage to engage with the professors and remind the professors politely. So that's all I can say. Once you go through this first stage of engagement with potential professors, then there is a process that you can go forward by completing your application online, formulating your research proposal, and once your system, once your file is in the system, it becomes automatic to go through. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I got one call, the second call. Third call. Okay, so it seems like we have satisfied all of the questions from our audience today. I call it a great achievement for the arrangement. Now I want to have very last kind of tips for our because many of the students, I guess, you come here either with the interest of the programs or you have questions about how to get admitted. So my general tips for all of our potential students is, again, check out our website and see if your research interests can have identified some matching faculty members and professors. So it's always the first step. Then you engage with the professors and show your interest, your research experience, and your academic strengths. So that's how you can initiate the first step. If you already get into the application profile in the system, try to follow the guidance, follow the interview procedures, prepare your documents well, make sure you meet all of the requirements. Then you look for the different scholarship opportunities. So all of the information already online, and it's probably you can see from you use the links earlier. So those are the tips I want to really offer to all of our future students. Okay. Okay, so I guess we are done for today, and thanks for coming, and also thanks for our 5 students to share with our potential students. All right, so thanks all.